Okay. All right, I'm just going to go over the ones that we went over in class today so that you can use this video to help you finish your homework tonight. I think you're going to have like 4 questions for homework, and all I want you to do is set up the equations. But here's what we did in class today. We looked at these 2 angles that they gave us, and you have to make a decision whether or not these angles are the same or are they different. Now, what I've learned is a lot of us are having trouble telling if they're the same or different. And so my suggestion to you is to get some patty paper out, some thin paper, and trace one of the angles that they gave you. I'm going to trace the arms of this angle around the 100 degrees. Okay, so here's the vertex of the angle. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip this around, lay the vertex on this vertex and one of the arms. It doesn't matter which arm. But if I lay it on this arm, do you see how this arm is not laying exactly on the arm of this original angle? They're not the same. Okay? I could take it and I could lay it on this arm. And now this arm is not laying at the top of this angle. So these angles are not the same. So if they're not the same, that means that they're supplementary. Which means that this plus this has to add up to 180 degrees. I'm going to write that. 100 plus x plus 10 has to add up. It has to equal 180 degrees. Then we insolved this in class. Remember, we put this into insolve, comma x, and we got x equals 70. Okay? But for your homework, the only thing I'm looking for is, do you know how to set up the equation? That's it. If you can give me this, I'm good. You can solve them when you get to class tomorrow with the TI Inspires. Okay? Then we did number 2. We looked at these 2 angles. Are they the same or are they different? Now I can look at this and I can see, oh, this angle is an obtuse angle. And I can look at this one down here and I can say, oh, that one's an acute angle. I can see that. So I know that they're different because one's acute and one's obtuse. But again, if you have trouble seeing it, get out some tracing paper or patty paper. And I'm going to trace the arms of this 132. Okay, today some of you are tracing this angle up here or something. You have to surround the angle that you're talking about with the 2 sides that are making up the angle. So here's the angle that I'm talking about. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to put my vertex on this angle down here and line up one of the arms. And look, this arm is way out here. It's much, much bigger than this angle that I've highlighted in green. They are not the same. Again, they are supplementary. So that means that the 2 angles add up 132 plus 3x plus 9 has to equal 180 degrees. This is all I want to see for your homework. When you get to class tomorrow, you can insolve it, and you will see that x equals, I think we got 13 on this one. But again, this is all I want to see on the homework. Okay? Then in class, we did number 4. I'm going to circle the 2 angles that they're asking me to pay attention to. And again, when I look at it, I see 2 acute angles. This is acute and this is acute. I can look at them and I can see that those angles are less than 90. So if they're both acute, that means that we set them up equal to each other. The 64 has to equal the 8x. But again, I'm going to keep showing you this. If you have a hard time telling if they're the same or different, trace the angle, trace the arms of the angle, and then put your vertex on the other angle. And do you see how these arms line up? Oops, sorry. Do you see how these arms line up perfectly with the bottom angle? These are the same angle. That's why I set my equation up like this. Now you can insolve this. This one is actually, this is what I want to see on your homework. This one is actually pretty easy to solve by hand. You have to divide both sides by 8, and 64 divided by 8 is 8. We're not going to worry about these blanks today. And then the other one we did in class was number 5. I'm looking at this 135-degree angle and this one that says x plus 15. When I look at those, I see two obtuse angles. And I know that in this diagram, if both of the angles are obtuse, like this, or both of them are acute, like this, I know that they're equal. They're the same. So when I set it up, it's 135 equals x plus 15. This is how you're going to set it up. This is what I want to see on the homework. It's actually pretty easy to solve by hand. So it might not be a bad idea if you think you can solve it by hand to practice tonight. But if not, you can always come to class and solve them. But I'm going to keep saying it. If you can't tell that these are both obtuse and therefore the same, get out some tracing paper, trace the arms of the angle and the vertex, and then take that angle that you traced and lay it on top of the other angle. Do you see how it matches up? They are the same. That's why I put them equal to each other. These two were not the same. So I added the two angles and I set them equal to 180. But these two were the same. So I just put an equal sign in between them. And that's all I need you to do. I need you to set up the equation for number 3. I need you to set up the equation for number 6. I need you to set up the equation for number 7 and for number 8. That is it. Come to class tomorrow with these 4 questions set up and ready to solve. Okay?